In March 1973, the SNP felt confident enough to take on Labour in their safe seat of Dundee East.
Dundee Harbour has become a base for North Sea Oil rig supply ships. Most candidates believe Scotland should get a share of the profits.
Their growing profile raised the possibility that one day they might even achieve independence and wrest control of the oil from London. It was a future scenario which attracted the attention of some powerful vested interests.
The fuel question became one of great importance to the United States because it needed to safeguard its non-Middle Eastern reserves in ways that it had never had to do before. And the North Sea Oil obviously came on just at the right moment for them.
In 1974, the US State Department appointed one of its most distinguished diplomats to Edinburgh as consul, Richard Funkhauser.
He was very literate, very handsome man. He looked like sort of James Stewart. And of course he was an oil professional.
But the arrival of the senior diplomat and what exactly he was there for caused some confusion.
And the American Consul General was negotiating. I never knew the detail of it, but negotiating in some way, I think, with the Scottish nationalists.
There were rumours that he might have been with the CIA, which of course is the natural view of people in those days when governments were being brought down by that organisation throughout the world.
Whatever Funkhauser's brief, he listened to all sides. During an earlier visit to Whitehall in 1973, he had a meeting with a high-ranking Foreign Office official who warned him that the Scottish nationalists were a very serious threat. But the man from Washington was not swayed by Whitehall's hard line. He adopted the pragmatic approach that one day the nationalists may well be in control of the oil.
Ons y program sio hasyn i nwchgych mar efo siaramant yn cahara MI5 ag Special Branch gan clachgych le Westminster hadn y blionich yn gys mail ychyryd ag ys croni anafyd ymwrs nasion doch na halabe. Rwy officer yn MI5 ag Special Branch rwy braheg ar yn SNP ag ys o'r nasion di hyle.
Feachn polisen yn dneudon son as uwlaat i'r ille ffigalappe fein orstan van realtas fi leem met roetse bi wat de fechkin twinmichel het nasentach.
Ha yn pepr sy'n, y gysio my chynnyf lys yn SNP a chai chymalig eldersli am yng nglaschw am na'n cytiag daichyd agos y siach. Chai chymal ar son canwa bas William Wallace y chwrchach. Agos charocal niwafystioch mynd ych yn fidjyd, mar a has y gysio as y narish a chapal nidjyd ar son paper leach na cael galeid a chai sgrifig. Chai sgrifig lys y ffolus, lys Special Branch y ffolus Metropolitan y sio an Albúning. Sa sy'n y gys gael ffiws fach yn trifichyd bliolna nôr nach rwach as yn SNP ach bwyn byg yr ymwylchwysyn gyrwad ffaglw are na nŵdrysyn y sio an Albúning.
Bachorgain, sy'n sio bech gas o'r wad, bachorgain, sŵrwch yma lawr y chwnnwtyn. Chaf hat sy'n gasyn diar.
Yn rwy'n polis gynnychyn, y dors brosnach o gan nasion dich oge gys bomich yn y spreg, ag ys y dors stws spreg ffwyd yn gaif.
Gydrach agad caset na nwy yn orsens gyda'n na gyntig, ag ys droch ania metol fer gansneis fer y fwy yn gan baliad.
Am smyn gro na polisman fech polis, et dal yn nwy na dwynja wat tiana na doi.
There were those in the civil service who took a rather different view of this from what they would normally do of political issues, because they felt that they had to work for the maintenance of the integrity of the United Kingdom.
Willie McRae was an extraordinary man. In 1980, at the Mulwarcher inquiry, McRae played the key role in defeating plans by the UK Atomic Energy Authority to dump nuclear waste beneath the hills of Ayrshire.
Ladies and gentlemen, what did we learn from this inquiry? First, I hope that all of you learned, if you hadn't known ever before, that all of you learned that you don't trust the political establishment in Scotland or in Britain. And that's lesson number one.
Before he died, He reckoned that he'd found something. He was involved, or going to be involved in an inquiry into the nuclear industry appertaining to Scotland. And he said that he'd now got something that they wouldn't be able to wriggle out of.
At the same time, McRae expressed deep concern over the death of Hilda Murrell, who was murdered in mysterious circumstances some months earlier. She too had been preparing a case against nuclear expansion, in her case at Sizewell.
She was challenging a very ruthless nuclear industry and that it was possibly associated in some way.
It has since been claimed her death came during a bungled break-in at her Shrewsbury home by the security services.
Maybe security did have a file on Hilda Murrell, but you said in your press release they didn't even know the woman. That's not true, sir. I'm sorry.
The surveillance was not conducted by MI5, and it was not conducted by the CGB or the Atomic Energy Authority. It was conducted entirely by freelance operators like Danny Peachman, who shot himself 3 days after Hilda died, and the unspeakable Vic Morris, who was a criminal, a convicted criminal, can still operate as a freelance agent. People like that, operating out of control, are capable of anything.
Before McRae died, his holiday home in Kintail was broken into. The same thing had happened at Murrell's holiday home in Wales, shortly before she was murdered.
I don't think anything that mattered at all was taken. Willie did mention it to me because, again, he was quite gleeful over it. His words to me were, they didn't get what they were looking for.
We were driving round the corner on the bend of the road that we're standing beside today on our way to Skye, and we were hailed by somebody who turned out to be an Australian tourist who indicated that there was a car off the road and felt there was somebody in the car who was dying. And we left our own vehicle and proceeded down the side of the hill.
What did you find?
We found a maroon Volvo facing back up towards the road, which had an SNP symbol on the front left-hand corner of the windscreen, and to my amazement it was Willie McRae, somebody who I'd known personally for many years.
A few weeks later, McRae's death certificate was lodged at Register House. It contained surprising news. According to the official report, McRae had died of a gunshot wound to his head. The scenario painted by the authorities was simple. McRae was known to carry an unlicensed .22 revolver. That night, he drove while drunk and crashed. In a fit of remorse, he turned his gun on himself.
I should say the establishment in the country was an enemy of Willie McRae.
But there were other aspects of his work which would have made him unpopular in some quarters. He represented the Scottish National Party in 4 general elections and rose to become its vice-chairman.
He knew he had been under surveillance, but he just didn't care.